This is not just about Texas. This is about running away with this system and rigging it midterm. So we're not going to sit back passively, hoping that somehow conditions align with those that are living with, I think, a pre-existing condition that somehow everybody's playing fair. Donald Trump does not play fair.
California Governor Gavin Newsom taking aim at President Trump as California Democrats unveil their proposed redistricting map to counter Texas Republicans. For more, let's bring in host of the Jason Rantz Show and SeattleRed.com creator Jason Rantz. All right, Jason, let's dive in. Obviously, Newsom is fighting back. He's even taken what he thinks is a page out of the Trump playbook, tweeting at Trump in all caps, trying to troll him a little bit. But at the end of the day, this whole redistricting, gerrymandering thing is a bit rich when you consider that Trump won 38% of California, but yet 83% of California's congressional delegation are already Democrats. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it's a bizarre tactic, I think, from Gavin Newsom, especially with like the tweeting. It's not particularly good trolling. And when you have the charm of Patrick Bateman, it just comes off very odd. And I know that his intent here is to try to be more of a Democratic Trump. But the candidates in the past who have tried to out-Trump Trump have always failed every single time. Trump is a very unique character with a very unique personality that people accept. And now it just seems kind of odd for Gavin Newsom to try to define himself nationally to an audience that he thinks is going to vote for him. I mean, he's clearly running for president. It's just an odd bit of, I don't know, character building and brand building for a presidential campaign. I think it's just falling flat, especially because he's just outright saying they're doing this to then rig the election in California. You can't argue that the president is trying to rig things, and so I'm going to rig things back. No, you try to stop the rigging. Otherwise, it's not really rigging at that point. Now you're just doing exactly what you're claiming the other side is doing.
Hey, Jason, before I run out of time, there's a story I really want to get to. We've covered it a lot on Fox, and that is, of course, all eyes on Zohran Mamdani in New York, the fear of what it would do to New York City. He's anti-Semitic, he's anti-law enforcement, and the list goes on. But he's not the only one. It's spreading across the country. You've got in Minneapolis, Omar Fatah, who was talking about how he's going to fight to keep that city a sanctuary city this week. Listen here.
So the first I would say would be a hostile federal government with not only Donald Trump in office, but he has essentially a trifecta, both chambers of Congress and the Supreme Court. And a lot of our neighbors, especially our undocumented residents, are very concerned.
And I believe you've even got someone along those socialist lines in Katie Wilson in Seattle also running for mayor. Yeah. So is this a nationwide spread of these policies and politicians like that?
I mean, frankly, it is a Trump reaction in big blue cities that have always had the organized socialists and progressives who have a lot of power and certainly unity. And I think this is just a response to that. It's going to backfire ultimately because nationally, I mean, Republicans just have to point to Minneapolis, New York, and Seattle to say, do you want the country to become that? And I just don't see this working out for them.
No, that is for sure, and we will keep an eye on it. Jason Rantz, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.